Food and non-alcoholic beverages weighed heavily on the CPI basket, increasing by 14% annually. The Agricultural Business Chamber says food prices are closer to the peak and believes there could be some moderation from around May and into the year's second half. The key drivers of the expected moderation, it says, will be meat, grain-related products, vegetable oils and fruit. It warns that the impact of load shedding may also influence prices for the next few months. But Nedbank senior research analyst Rizwana Sumad says it is uncertain when food inflation will peak.
It is very uncertain as to when food inflation is going to peak. There are various industry bodies that are expecting food prices to peak over the next 2 months. However, what we find is that this disconnect between lower imported food costs and higher local food costs, local operational factors, operations are more expensive given load shedding and the more expensive mitigants that companies are now using to produce food and other products. And so local factors we think are driving food costs and keeping them elevated for now. So it is difficult to say when food prices will peak and come down.
PwC economist Klantibai says external forces like the Russia and Ukraine war are also putting pressure on food inflation.
We know that many of the suppliers are also facing the same pressures we are facing in terms of prices. So many for a long time they've been holding back, and I think many of them probably have been absorbing some of those costs, now facing a situation in which they have no choice but to pass those on to the consumer.
Housing and utilities increased by 4% year-on-year. Transport inflation also went up by 8.9% year-on-year, while miscellaneous goods and services increased by 5.9% annually. Core inflation remained flat.
If you do look at the numbers, though, and you strip out food and fuel and get to core inflation, we did see that was flatlined, so stayed at a steady 5.2%. So what that means is that and not unexpected, that the significant part of the inflation increase is coming from food as well as increased fuel prices.
Following this latest inflation figure, it is expected that the Reserve Bank will continue on its interest rate hike trajectory. In March, it raised interest rates by 50 basis points to 7.75%. Diabo Seto, SABC News, Johannesburg.